all of this is just interesting to me because it seems as if Africa has a problem with white South Africans more than us, black South Africans, which is just mind to me because it's not usually us, black South Africans, who always attack white people here in South Africa, but it's people from the outside. And bear in mind that these are people who don't even understand the interracial relationships that we have in this country. Well, the EFF is one party that was known to attack white people here in South Africa, and recently some people from the MK party have joined in that thing. So apart from these two, it's usually people from outside South Africa who always speak badly about white South Africans. Well, it's no secret that when you are doing good, you are inevitably going to attract a lot of enemies. And that is exactly what South Africa is going through right now. We all know that South Africa is one of the leading nations here in Africa when it comes to a plethora of things. And we are a very diverse nation, including blacks, whites, Indians, Asians, coloreds, and any other race you can think about. We are not a selfish nation that thinks just because we are in Africa, then other races are not important or shouldn't be taken seriously. I say this because many African countries have a problem with the relationship we have as black South Africans with our white South Africans. Let us talk about this and try to unpack why is it that some African countries have a problem with white South Africans. My name is Emmanuel and this is Mzansi Versity, the place where we transform lives through knowledge and information. Well, sonke siyazi ukuthi white people were a very big problem here in Africa in the past. They oppressed us, they abused us, they discriminated us, even went as far as killing so many of us. Now, that kind of behavior is not something that people can just forget about that easily. White people were not only a problem here in South Africa, but in many other African countries. It's just that apartheid was the most famous of them all. South Africans only managed to end apartheid back in 1994, just 30 years ago, and we did something that most African countries who were helping during the struggle didn't really understand, and that is forgiving instead of seeking revenge. Why would black South Africans forgive the white man who was oppressing them? How can South Africans live with these people? Those were just some of the questions that most African countries were asking themselves back then. Black South Africans take power and run the country. African countries were happy about that because finally South Africa is now under the leadership of black people. Fast forward 2024. This year we had our national elections and the Black Party, the ANC, lost the majority vote. They lost the majority vote because they failed to live up to the promises that they made to the people of South Africa when they took power back in 1994 and South Africans wanted change. As a result of the ANC losing the majority vote, the ANC was forced to work with the whites, the DA, in a government of national unity, along with other political parties. But some people, I'm sure we all know, Uguti, they are saying there's no government of national unity here. This is just a marriage between the ANC and the DA. Now, as all of this was unfolding, that's when the hate that some African countries have for white South Africans was resurrected. Why would we help South Africa fight the white man, and then fast forward 30 years later, they are taking power and giving it back to the white man yet again? Why is South Africa doing all of this? To this day, Some African countries are still attacking South Africa about what happened in this country this year. Why we chose to give white people positions of power. All of this is just interesting to me because it seems as if Africa has a problem with white South Africans more than us black South Africans, which is just mind to me, because it's not usually us black South Africans who always attack white people here in South Africa, but it's people from the outside. And bear in mind that these are people who don't even understand the interracial relationships that we have in this country. Well, the EFF is one party that was known to attack white people here in South Africa, and recently some people from the MK party have joined in that thing. So apart from these two, it's usually people from outside South Africa who always speak badly about white South Africans. I think all the people who have a problem with white South Africans in 2024 should just let go of the past and stop this thing of holding grudges. Because think about it, kuyafana. Even if us as black South Africans decide today to start hating white South Africans because of what they did in the past, that won't change the fact that apartheid happened. And it won't benefit us as a country going forward positively. So it's just a waste of energy. What we need to realize is that the whites who were oppressing us as black people in the past, most of them are dead. Yes, some are still alive, but most of them, I can say maybe 80% of them are dead, 6 feet underground. So how is us dwelling on the things that those people did, using those things to crucify their grandchildren? How is that thing going to benefit us as a country going forward? To me, that thing is only just going to kill the diversity of this beautiful country. The thing about us South Africans, and the very thing that has made South Africa one of the best countries in the continent, is that we are not past dwellers, but we are focused on the future. The diversity that we have right now in our cabinet is working for South Africa. And we can see the impact that GNU is having on this country. Compare this diverse cabinet that we have right now with the previous one that was mostly dominated by black people, and tell me, Uguti, as a South African, which one would you opt for? Because personally, I would opt for this one, this diverse one that we have right now. And I am opting for this one because I have seen what the latter has accomplished in the last 30 years, and that is not something I wish to see going forward for this country. So change was needed, and change is what we have right now. Just because black South Africans decided to give white South Africans some power once again in this country, that doesn't mean that white people are our masters, or we are serving the whites in this country as black people. We are puppets of black people. We are slaves. All of these things that we are always being called as black South Africans. It has nothing to do with all of that. We as black South Africans did what was necessary for our country, and which seems like it is working, because clearly what we had for the past 30 years is not working. And besides, if it happens, Uguti, this thing that we have right now, this diverse government that we have right now in this country doesn't work, and it turns out that we have made some sort of huge mistakes as black South Africans, we are the ones who are going to face the repercussions of that mistake, not any other person outside of South Africa. So this thing of other African nations and people outside of South Africa attacking white South Africans is just boring and a waste of time. What I want to say to all these people outside of South Africa who always talk bad about white South Africans and talk bad about black South Africans, Uguti, why are we working with white South Africans? I just want to say that you people need to focus more on your countries and leave South Africans to focus on South Africa. Because as long as white people in this country are working for the betterment of this country, we are going to cherish and love those white people. In this country, there's not only racist white people, there are white people who have South Africa's best interests at heart. And those are the whites that we want in power positions, because it's not an issue of race, it's an issue of developing this country. So what I mean is that as long as white people in South Africa are working for the betterment of this country, then we are going to love them. As long as blacks are working for the betterment of this country, we are going to love them. As long as Indians or any other race is working for the betterment of this country, then we won't have a problem with those people, because racial tension has never been a thing that can improve a country. It's something that only kills a country. Ask Zimbabwe if you don't believe what I'm talking about. So that's just what I wanted to talk about in today's video. If you learned something new or you enjoyed this video, just leave a like and subscribe to this channel. I would really appreciate it. Also, leave a comment down below and tell me, what do you think about all these people from outside South Africa who have a problem with white South Africans? Do you think their hate is justified, or they are just wasting their energy? Tell me on the comment section down below. Let's meet again on another video.